So I'm in, let's
Sorry.
see, got it. Okay, so I just got a notification recording in progress. I just wanted to know that you knew that.
Yeah. Do you mind if I record it? Because I'm gonna.
No, I don't mind. I was just making sure nothing shady was going on.
No, I'll be using like clips from it to promote and try to get more mock ones coming.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a supplemental motion for enforcement of a protective order. It is family court. Um, my perpetrator X is an attorney and just real foul with his ethics here. I know that's hard to believe. So that's what I have going on. I'll let you kind of ask the questions um if you want to kind of lead that. If you don't, I'll keep,
Yeah.
trying my best to explain.
Okay. So we also have For Good in because this was actually her time. I think she might be in this time zone. For Good, we had one with Brandy earlier, but the times got mixed up, so I just sent her a link to this one. Now this one we don't have a time limit on because I got the standard I got the standard service. Hold on. Hello?
Hello.
Okay. So we're gonna kind of just merge them together. Okay. So I'll start with Brandy. So it's a protection order that somebody is there a victim or of any kind that somebody is bringing a claim against you?
I wouldn't call it a, well, I mean, he claims he's a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what you have is an attorney who's a victim because I told on him. And when I
Ah.
say told on him, I mean, I've had a sexual assault protective order in 21 for a year. They didn't put the minor child on there. So fast forward a little longer, you got repeated violations of protective order that he was arrested for. He's been arrested 4 times during the pendency of this causes.
This this is the lawyer or this is somebody
This
who
is the
filed.
lawyer. This is the lawyer who is the perpetrator, who is now the victim.
What
Yeah.
was there an altercation between you guys, or it's just that you told on him?
There's manufactured altercations on his part.
Okay.
No, never been any witnesses, never been any bruising, cuts, um, yeah, none of that. So the violation that he has previously gotten me on was there was a no shackup clause. Um, so the minor child was, when he would go to visitation, began to, at 3.5, act out some sexual behaviors, mimic, like
Right.
licking
Okay.
Peppa Pig between the legs and saying he had to um, put a TT in his mouth.
Oh my goodness.
So I report this again, tell on him. Um, so when he has the child and in the family court, he's just destroying me. I mean, just, you know, taking the attorneys that I was able to pay at the time, just, they would have to draw up a motion for this and then a rule 11. And then, I mean, it's like $3,800. So
Hmm.
I lost 55,000 in a total of 2 years. But nevertheless, that's kind of the story on how I ended up the victim, now perpetrator. Um, so what he's trying to do is criminalize me.
Right.
And he's been successful in the family court to, I'll use the word, restrain and restrict not only my rights but liberties, all the things. So this is just another attempt to, carry that out. And so through all the years up until September of this year, he was able to get a mutual protective order because I had the first one. And then he was able to use the family court to get mutual. And then in September, the mutual protective orders, where he also changed the wording to he's the protected person, which actually I was the original protected person. He's just used the documents to change that because the judge has allowed him to enter every document that's signed by her has been produced by him. I don't even know that she's read them, honestly. But she has recused herself in November, late November, and didn't give a reason why. So I have a new judge that I just went before in January. And we stayed until all day for this. Because like I said, this motion that I'm talking about is a supplemental motion for protective order violation. So we already went to one hearing and the judge didn't come back with his whatever decision for 4 days. Well, within the 4 days, he's stalking my social media and literally goes in and tries. His evidence is pictures of my LinkedIn. And I have a lot of contacts, like yourself or others that are on LinkedIn, and like Susan Bassey and different people that I follow. They're journalists or whatever, but it's all about family court.
Okay.
So one of the exhibits that he uses is a response to an article of Family Court that I commented underneath
So
about
they're saying that you violated the protection order by sharing stuff on social media?
this is what he's saying, yes. So it's like a completely desperate attempt. However,
Were
that's
you ever
really
issued a gag? Were you ever issued some sort of a gag order not to use
no.
this?
No, the only thing that he's using is a standard protective order issue. You're not supposed to do anything that's likely to harass, embarrass, directly directed at the victims. I even hate saying that. The
Well,
victims.
would you say that you did that in any of these comments that you posted on there?
I would say what I have done absolutely is post public record, and
Okay.
there's one in particular um, that I did not retract his name and address.
Ah,
However,
yeah,
it's still a public record document.
it is. It is. They try to talk about the open case. I had a case just recently where I tried to request information, and she told me she couldn't do that because uh, I'm just a friend, and it's an open case, and they come through all of that. But if you're able to get it, did you get the documents via discovery, or did you just make a public request for them?
No, these are my documents from the police department that have been filed into this case. So
Oh,
they
these
are
are
at the
police reports.
yes.
Okay, so those are public records. Anyone
Yeah.
can swear that. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And one another in particular that he used was my victim impact statement. And okay, it had his name on there, but I did retract part of his name. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you did that and that it's on paper.
So
I mean,
basically, the gist of it is that you have this protective order, and he's trying to get you on violating the protection order for posting information on social media.
yeah, in a nutshell, yes.
Okay, so to me, my case with that would be okay. I have the right to freedom of speech, right?
That's
And
right. Now, I will tell you what the judge told me at the end of the hearing, because in my closing statement, I was able to get that in. Um,
mhm,
and his response to me, and I do have this closing statement on the record. It cost me $500, but I have it.
mm,
Um, he said, in a, I should have gotten it, but basically he said that is the least of, what do you call it when you're trying to show something, but that was basically the least of the worries of what issues I could bring.
the least of the worries is your freedom of speech.
Yeah, basically, like, that was a minimum of what we're speaking about. That's how I took that.
Well, I mean, I would if that happened, I would object. I said, sir, you have, sir, or whoever the judge is, you have an oath to uphold the Constitution and my rights. And one of my rights, substantive rights, is the freedom of speech. And if LinkedIn and the social media platforms doesn't violate any of their guidelines, I don't see why I couldn't post um, public information on social media.
Of
Now,
course, then
now,
you have that whole argument about them saying, oh, well, their testimony was that he and the new wife is that it embarrassed them. Well, of course it did.
right?
You married this man that you don't know these things about. You have no idea. Now you're married to him. I'm telling on him. And this is
Mm.
public record. I'm not making things up and putting it on.
I mean, if it's defaming in any way, like the public defamation, but if it's just you're posting public records, but you're not saying, oh, he's a piece of crap and all that stuff, they could probably get you on that, even though
No,
that's
no, I
being
don't say those
well,
things, but
right?
if you wanted to legalese argue it, sure, you could make it defaming because, like he testified, if my boss finds out about this, I'm going to lose my job. Well, yeah,
Mm,
you're right. You will, because you didn't disclose that to your boss. Not my problem,
right? Well, I'm the one being charged here.
right? So, I
That's
mean,
scary,
you've
but
got a lawyer who has everything to lose that me, completely broken down, is going against.
right,
And I'll never waste my money on another attorney. I can tell you that.
yeah,
And
because it's just
furthermore,
go
they
ahead.
find that I am, um, the final hearing, the fact finding was there's a serious mental illness. Doesn't specify, doesn't say what it is, although my
For,
records say what it is.
for who?
But if they looked at the records, they would know what the serious mental illness was that has to do with the trauma of being a victim. But
Okay.
apparently, they don't read my records because it's depression and PTSD. So that serious mental illness all goes back to the victim and the denial of victim rights, which have never been invoked, although I've begged, pleaded, entered into every court in that courthouse, and they just won't acknowledge it.
Well, I think you can also bring up this whole matter of jurisdiction too, right? Or what gives them the authority to, you know what I mean, to 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 adjudicate or show authority over you, the person. Like, is there a contract? Because there has to be a contract in order for them to do any
Well,
of this
and
stuff.
that's right. That is absolutely right. And so there's another issue to that, is what he has done in a different county that I have, for when the particular instance I was telling you about that he had the child overnight, I went to a private investigator, asked him how much it would be, $2,800 to get pictures of him shacking up overnight, you know, after the hours of all the blah, blah, blah they say. So I get the pictures and I'm on a county road. And this is where the violation begins. I didn't go on the property. I didn't knock on the door, blah, blah, blah. So he immediately calls and has me violated in the county court. Now, this is this is 2 years ago. He immediately calls and has me violated in this family court. Then gets a whole case in that county. So I spent 11 months with a court-appointed attorney, went to a jury trial, found not guilty, and I had to fight so hard for that attorney to work, to take it to trial, only to find out that he's best friends with the wife's father. Can you believe this? But
But
we won.
you won anyway, right?
I won anyway, not guilty.
On what grounds did you win? What did the judge decide? For good, we're gonna get to you, okay? I know you're waiting. Sorry.
Okay, say it one more time.
What was the judge's decision in that trial that you won? Because it was a jury trial, so the
Not
jury had
guilty.
to. Right, but
They came.
on what ground? Do you know what the grounds were? Like, you know what got you off? Like, what was the deciding factor? Because I mean, you can use that as leverage going into this next one.
Okay. The report that I got from the attorney. Now, there may be something I'm missing. I do have those court records, though. I may need to go back and, kind of read that. So, you've got the same case issue in 2 counties, one civil, one criminal. And that's the exact protective order that he's got me on this supplemental motion now. He keeps using this, although I've been found not guilty. So he's keeps trying to use it civilly to have me criminal. And the criminal didn't work. So he's going to keep trying.
Right. Well, that's the thing about, because like I get a lot of people with the family court stuff, and it gets a little hairy because there is a victim. You know what I mean? There is quote unquote a victim. It is not just the state over there. So it's like
Right.
you get a lot of bickering in between the two. But it's like if you just I just like to focus on the case, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
case coming up and what they're trying to get you on, and are you really guilty of this? You know what I mean?
And I think that's that's where the legalese comes in. Now, if I'm saying, if I were going on social media and saying this guy, he's a loser, he's this, he's that, no. What I
Mm-hmm.
do is put the facts, and I'm not specifically directing, anything towards him, but it's the only way I've gotten any momentum is to try to I can't get the district attorney records. They will not give me the charges so I can prosecute him.
So they're withholding exculpatory evidence from you.
Exactly. And they did this
That's,
all during the pendency of the hearing. That's how he's been able to get his momentum and
all right.
turn
So
me
like
into a perpetrator.
I think we can take some steps here. Uh, I say stick to the First Amendment, and there's something known as the Brady Rule, where if the other party has evidence that pretty much exonerates you, or any information that they're withholding that will clear your name of these charges, they must produce it. So, I mean, you saying that the district attorney is not giving up the records or what have you? I would
Right.
enforce the Brady Rule, right? And say I
And I
demand
do
the
that
record.
verbally, correct?
You can do it verbally. I can see if I can find some filings for you as well. Because I would rather just do it on the paper, because all court exists on paper. Right? Even when you're in court, everything is being transcribed onto the record. So
Mm,
I would do it via the paper, like in Georgia, it's like known as a notice to produce, and then you would cite the Brady rule, and I think it's Brady versus Maryland Supreme Court hearing,
okay.
and
I really only feel comfortable taking the paper in myself and
that's fine.
doing it verbally as much as they will let me,
That's
because
fine.
this clerk is, man, she's so wrong for her behavior. I mean, it's unreal.
Well,
This
there's
judge
laws
has
against
told me
that too. So
this.
they don't accept your filing, there's codes against that, and I can look those up and say if you do not accept this, man, and do your job, you're violating 18 USC whatever, right?
Right.
And
And I
that's a
see
felony,
what I
and that's a felony. So we can hit them with that if they don't choose to do it.
absolutely. Okay. And that's a great idea, because what I need to do is I need to do that in court on the record with, and like basically what, you're saying, these codes, I need, like, I call it a cheat sheet to go through and be able, because you know how they do, they
Right,
sit down, be quiet, don't speak.
right, right. They try to silence you, and you have the right to be heard. There's codes for that as well. So
Yeah,
let me
so
get
I
to
need
four
like the
good because
best cheat sheet ever. But
and I have the courtroom cookbook and I need to finish it, but I've got a lot going on. But I could come up with a little cheat sheet for you.
awesome. Yeah, so I
Um,
mean, like I said, the whole issue is that, I've been found not guilty of
mhm,
even his motion contains the language that I was found guilty. I mean, not that I was found guilty, that the protection order violation. Well, which one are you referring to? Because
right.
the one that I've been falsely arrested for 3 times, in 2 different counties that you've created because you called. I mean, no one's ever witnessed any of this. This is
Right.
all him. This is all his saying. No one arrested me until after he got on the phone.
Hearsay.
I, I, I don't understand how this happens, but I mean, I know.
It's hearsay unless he has a witness to provide extra testimony or if he has evidence that incriminates you.
Well, I
But
mean,
I mean,
you
Brent,
know how they do. He's going to produce his evidence that he's saying is incriminating. Uh,
sure. And look,
yeah,
you're whatever evidence he produces, you have the right to review it as well. So if they're holding that from you, they can't. This is family court. It's crazy. But
it is
Brenda,
crazy.
let me get to four good because this was actually her time, so I want to make sure she gets some time. But
Okay,
I'm good until two, so I don't know how you guys want to do it. How long you guys can stay on. But let's hear it for a good thing. You
okay.
there? She's there. Is there a way I can bump her? Let's see. Spotlight, and culture name, put in waiting room, remove, stop the wheel. Huh. For good, you there? All right, let me put it in the chat. All right, till she comes back, we can just continue. I believe it's
Okay,
a she.
okay. No matter, no matter. And
All right, I
now,
think that.
okay, so what is
Oh, she's
her?
here. She's here.
Okay.
Hold on. For good, are you there?
Hello,
Can you
can you
hear
hear
me?
me? Can you hear me?
I can you? Yes, there you are.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good, good. So you have some sort of a case or hearing for benefits, is that correct?
That is correct.
And they're trying to withhold these benefits from you?
Yes, I got
Okay.
mad because, I was out of work, uh, in regards to a medical condition, and I was
Uh-huh.
only getting $156, and I was been, out of income for 2 months.
Uh-huh.
And, I applied for, all the assistance, everything that I could get, because I was thinking, this is a good channel to go through. They got direct access to all kinds of benefits, and I got denied.
So who are you requesting the benefits from?
The Health and Human Resources.
At your job?
No, the state.
State Health and Human Resources.
Yeah, the state assistance for food stamps and cash and medical and
Okay.
emergency assistance, and they pay your gas bill and everything.
So what entitles you to those benefits,
What
to your knowledge?
entitlement?
Yeah, what entitles you to those benefits? Like what if you go down there to say I want these benefits, there's probably an entitlement that you have towards them, as we all have, right?
Yeah, you can't get them if you make too much money.
Okay. Okay. So if you were in a certain income bracket, then you were entitled to apply for these.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So on what grounds do they deny you?
Um,
Do you know?
Client was denied state emergency relief due to not being affordable for housing and no shut off for emergency notice. Client was denied cash assistance as not agreeing to apply for Social Security disability and for having no minor children. So I can't get any kind of, assistance for not having any children.
Mm,
Did I understand that correctly, that they're saying because she has not applied for Social Security?
Yeah.
disability was it Social Security? Do you have a social
Yeah, what they're talking about is Social Security disability. You gotta be,
disability? Yeah.
yeah, disabled. And that's not, I'm not disabled. I,
Right. So
I
why
don't
would
have
you?
like,
I guess you're saying that if you're not disabled, you got to get up and work. I guess is what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, and that's the
But in the
thing.
meantime, have you tried unemployment?
I got this case going on with them too. The thing about it is my employer, I'm off on medical leave, and I have been since October 8th. And they can't find a diagnosis. So I got some kind of appointment in February. So without the doctors being able to diagnose what it is, they won't allow me to come back to work. But they're
All right.
still saying that I have a job. And so I filed because it literally has a drop down that says fictitious employment.
Because you're not working, you're not getting paid. So, are you getting any kind of compensation on medical leave?
No, I work at a job that, well, it's a college, university, and they're closed in the summers. So
Uh,
yeah, so from the time I started working in September to the time this medical condition happened, I didn't qualify for having enough hours in the year. But see,
mm,
all of a sudden, when I started talking about, my rights and that I lost my job, my position, excuse me, they eliminated my position. And so I don't pretty much didn't have a job anymore.
oh, that one's a doozy because the benefits and privileges, that's up to them. But if it's a right that they're violating, or they're withholding from you by right, then there's a clear way you can go in there. But these benefits is what they can grant to me. That is what they can grant or deny.
Well, I was gonna go in with the defense of, these are my benefits. I filled out an application. Where did this application go? And how come
Right.
I didn't get anything from it?
Right. So, have you been paying into these benefits in any way? Like maybe through your
To unemployment,
paycheck?
I had 5 weeks of unemployment left, and it's still in protest.
No, for the benefits that you were going to get for the emergency
Oh,
benefits, what have you? Or is
I
that
I got food stamps, and I got well, my food stamps, they raised my food stamps, but and I got the gas paid for, which the state paid for it, and then I paid for it on top of that, sending my coupons in that they denied, bringing my bill up to $350. So they got paid twice.
so you're into the billing coupons then?
Yeah,
I got a class on that tonight too,
yeah.
because I tried one and they denied it as well. So I got a class with Joe Lustica about what to do when they deny it, what codes we could hit them back with, and all of that. Because as far as
Yeah,
paying the bills, go
I
ahead.
don't believe in that because, it's ours. They're just saying they don't accept that form of payment. And yeah, we went over that. I was up till, well, I haven't slept all night because
See,
I was
they
on.
might not in that department, but there's probably a special department you have to send them to or direct it to via your instruction letter.
No, these places are just completely refusing to admit that's a coupon. And what kind of form of payment do you actually think you need? I could send in
Right.
a blank envelope and say I paid for it because it's already paid for.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go through that tonight and trying to figure out when they deny it. It's already accepted unless they return it. If they never return it to you, that means they accepted it. So,
Exactly.
so
And
there's ways in which that.
that's the same thing I've had happen with Chase.
I think for your case though, it would be to whatever benefits that you were denied. Uh, what there has to be there has to be some codes in there that
Well,
there's got to be
they
code
have to.
relevant code somewhere. I just don't know anything about these benefits like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, you'd think they'd have to do it. They say, oh, this is a pool that we go on. No, you're grabbed only my social security number.
Correct.
You're going
Yeah,
off from
they
that.
correct. Well, there we go. Another thing I'm using tonight, I'm going over tonight, is the Numinate record, and it's a full account of your social security card or account number and who's been using it. So
Right.
if you can see that these people with these benefits have used it or extracting money out of it, that could be a strong case as well.
Well, and
I
I
had
was going to go in there and say, because there's a case name, and then I don't know which one is on the left side and the right side, but my all caps name is on the left side, and then the Michigan State of Health and Human Services is on
Hmm.
the right side. So if I'm the plaintiff or the defendant on the left side
Wait, so
of the
who's
page of
first?
the, huh?
Who's first? Who's listed first? It should be them, right?
But well, because I'm fighting it, I'm taking it to trial, so
Okay.
I'd be the
You'd be the
plaintiff.
plaintiff then. Correct.
Okay, so the all caps name is the plaintiff, and then the other, regular case name is just a case name. And I was going to go in there and say, I noticed this difference in this name. Can you tell me what it is? And I was going to see where they stand. Okay, so who are you in this? Are you the trustee? Are you the grantor? Who are you? And can you tell me who I am in this whole thing? The beneficiary, I don't hold any grounds or jurisdiction in this.
I think those work in defenses when they're trying to bring claims against you
Well, I'm
by
trying to
some
make
sort
the
of a
claim that
right. You're making the claim this time, so you have to. If you're making the claim, the burden of proof is on you. So you have to come up with some sort of a case to where they're denying you the benefit um, unlawfully or unlegally under grounds that are not admissible, I would say.
yeah. And then
But
someone else told me to say, you're just a man and woman here to help a man and woman working for a fictitious character.
right,
And how come I'm not getting any benefits? Where's my application?
I would attach the benefits. Like, where are the benefits coming from? Like, I mean, because as far as I know, they're coming out of your social. So
Well, as far as they're
why
going to say, I
right,
know they're going to say, um, it's a pool, it's a fund that Michigan gets that we disperse to everybody that
right?
qualified.
So why do you need my social in order to do it?
Exactly.
So
So
you don't administer my trust in any way. You don't administer my social in any way in order to pool these funds.
right, I got to get them in that kind of aspect, and that's why I had this conference to see, what kind of wording or whatever I need to say. But there is a girl on YouTube that Joe actually told me about. Her name was Felicia Beverly, and she does
Yep.
stuff on food stamps.
Okay. Oh, so you spoke with Joe too, huh?
Yeah, I did.
That guy gets around, man.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
Brandy, he probably
Okay,
could help with
so
your case as well.
well, that's
It's a
what I was
family
just
court.
about to ask. She touched on the social and the trust, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So, although this is civil,
Mm-hmm.
every time that I'm violated in the family court or a civil, criminal, either way, that's why they use that word quasi criminal. Because when I
Correct.
stand before the judge and ask him, why don't I have an attorney? Why don't I have a representative for my mental illness? That your court has a fact finding that I have a serious mental illness. Okay, I accept that, Your Honor. Or my honor, or whatever. I would like, equal rights in this court. But to go back to the number, every time I'm violated, they're getting money.
Yep.
Somebody is getting money from that bond that they keep putting on this paper.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I've counted at least 8 case numbers
Mm.
Ooh.
So
from the county officials in my name in the last 2 years.
a Newbery record would probably be good for you too.
So I'm glad you said that because I got the number. I wrote the number down. This was yesterday because I'm like, how once you go down the rabbit hole, you just kind of can't stop. So do you know anyone that's been successful getting that record? Or is it fairly simple to just call
I
and request it?
So I've heard that it's not simple process at all, and I haven't heard of anyone who has, but apparently Joe has, and he said the guy got the whole
Okay,
court
tell
shut
me
down
these
over it.
names. Y'all said Felicia something and Joe.
So yeah, I have a one-on-one with Joe Lustica tonight, and he's just the guy who knows how to do his research. And when you know how to do your research, you can build a very good case. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
can you spell those names for me just so I don't
It's
miss them when I
Joe Lustica. I've got a post on it on my page right now. It's my latest post. It goes through it.
Okay.
Um, that's who I got my one-on-one. She was talking about Felicia Beverly.
Yeah, it's a Golden Eagle
Hmm.
and Felicia Beverly on YouTube.
Okay.
She has a lot of success stories with billing coupons, apparently, among other things. But that's where I heard of her was with her billing coupons.
And I don't know much about this one person, but I'll just put it out there just in case it's helpful to someone. Um, I've been watching on TikTok. Her name is Rev Teaches Her Ass Off.
Okay.
And she talks a lot about, and this is how a lot of this integrates what we're talking about, the consumer protection laws, kind of going
Correct.
back to, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
what I was gonna go into, yes.
so
Right.
that's where her specialty, that's where her passion is right there. And teaching people, um, how you go into that aspect, then you bring the social report together with that. And she does a lot of live, and she puts her screen up, and
Mm-hmm.
she shows you with her fingers and her pens, this is where you go. So she's
Right.
not using the language, but she's showing you, this is where you go, this is where your bag is, this is where blah 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 blah. um and so sh- I mean, I could just go on and I'll get off topic, but yeah, she may be a great resource. I haven't watched her at length. I've maybe been on to her for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So far she's a really good source though. She doesn't make you pay unless you want to take the class and then get in a group. And what she's trying to do with the group is form a class action suit. She's teaching you how to do this on your own, but then on
Correct.
the bigger picture, she's bringing it together for class action, under certain things. Like, for instance, Equifax, has violated. So the breach, I'm included in that. Well, it ends January 22nd. And that breach, I mean, you have to go in and search every single entity to try to figure out who has a copy of your record, who's taking
Right.
money off your number.
Right.
So,
And I bet you're gonna find these courts on there, and they're just masquerading these hearings and these trials in front of you like they're not just pulling money out of your account the whole time.
absolutely. I mean, and like she says, this is not legal, but she also has it's called webrecon.com. And she goes on there, she pulls that up. I've not been there yet because I just simply have not had the time. But she goes in there and it will tell you how many per state, how many consumer lawsuits there are, and it specifies the attorneys that are working for consumer law violations, and there's only like 15 in the whole US.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and their numbers are like 100 or 200, and where the consumers numbers are like 20, 55. And she's like, you're not doing your work. You're not doing your work. These numbers should be, I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got a $35 billion breach, and you've got what, 10, 15 states that Equifax was under, and the lawsuit has, said you will pay these consumers because you violated their rights. So she's got
Well,
it all together. I'm probably not the best spokesperson,
I
but
might
I
reach
have
out to
found
her
it
and see if I could do a
insightful.
one-on-one with. Say that.
I said I found it very insightful as far as
Right.
bringing together all the other things, such as the things we're talking about and the things that you talk about on your TikToks and the different things. It,
Right.
it brings it together, even in the bigger picture.
Right.
So
Right.
this is what I was going to go with, for my like opening statement or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Using the accord of status. And
Okay.
that's rights, title, and interest in the application. Who has that? This isn't a pool application. It's my social security, and anyone utilizing my social security is a consumer transaction. And I have entitled unlimited credit according to laws, and I'm obligated the right to the benefits for private household and commercial use. And then I was gonna say you, and I don't know who they are, that's the judge or hearing advocate or whatever, is the trustee. Or do I have to petition the secretary? And that would be the Secretary of Department of Treasury.
I think that's your strongest case there, is to stay
I,
on.
I think so too. To stick with,
stay
this
on
is
it,
a
though.
commercial consumer transaction that, you know, you guys are
Correct.
doing here.
So you said you already had a hearing. Oh,
Yeah,
no, you have.
a pre-trial or pre-hearing.
Did you bring any of that up during that hearing?
He said, when I said, you know, you're just a man and woman working for a man and woman, working for a fictional character. And she goes, we don't deal with securities. So
Mhm.
she knew exactly what the fuck I was, or I'm sorry.
She sure did.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I
So what
know
did she say though? How did she respond?
She goes, I can get your packet sent out for a trial. I said, you do that.
See, you see that whenever you ask them a question that they don't want to answer, that same thing happened to me. I asked her who has the claim against me, and she couldn't answer that, and then she just kicked it down to a trial. So when you get to the trial now, I
Yeah.
would hit him with the paperwork first. I would hit him with the paperwork and see and demand that they respond to it before even going into that trial. Because
And
you know you can just get railroaded.
yeah, I put my demands in. I hand delivered it to them, and I wrote it on their denial, the first denial, and I asked for $11,600 for moving costs if they're not going to pay the $4,500 that I had to pay. That was in my, you know, checking account. The only money that I was like living off from, $4,500 gone. I said, I want you to pay that, or the 11,600 for moving costs if I can't get into this place for the next year lease. And then I told them to, you know, pay my electric and my gas. They wouldn't pay the electric because it's not at shutoff. You know,
Now, that is something I have struggled with the last year because I qualify for all these cap or whatever, you know, for each state it may be. Now, when I've been behind or late on the payments, I've submitted when I'm not. I can't, I simply get the most ridiculous responses. Well, our caseload is backed up. I
Not my
don't
problem.
care. I don't
Right.
care.
Right.
I mean, how do you call an 800 number to your government? Much less, you know, a third party government entity. But how do you even call the attorney general and you get no answer and you leave a message and they don't follow through? What is happening?
they're all
Like,
together.
they are, and
Their literal computer system is all linked together. Because I am
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Even to the victims, which I've, you know, I am a victim of sexual assault and domestic violence. Um, when you call the national 800 number, then it redirects me back to my local crisis center, who said after 6 visits, we're going to wait till things die down in your court case for you to come back. I mean,
I don't consent. I object. I'm here now. Let's handle this now, please.
Yeah.
But like, because when I objected to the judge, her face just like dropped. She's not going to schedule you for trial. Man, I object to a trial. Like, who's the victim? Who am I going to trial with? Sir,
yeah,
go ahead.
get this in writing. And we went over that last night on a live. Get everything in writing. If they say that this happens to you, put it on a letterhead with your stamp and say that you can't do this because of this. And then you send it to whoever you need to send it to, the IRS, the Department of Treasury. I think that's the highest that we can go now, because the Attorney General, I swear, when I talked to the Attorney General, there was this guy that I talked to, and then I called the Inspector General, and I swear the same guy answered that phone.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how I know that they're connected.
Oh,
Mm.
I think,
if you call enough entities and you
yeah,
have the same issue, eventually you're going to get full circle. Because
yep,
I spent 11, 12 months calling for my crimes victims rights, services, compensation, yada yada. Well, you can't get compensation. I mean, the most easy thing to get is for relocating. I don't need to relocate. I need to be protected as a victim. Thank you. But I don't need to relocate. Now, could you please follow through with that victim services protection? You know, because you said I'm a victim. Where are my victims' rights? I can't get them invoked anywhere. They don't know what to do with the invocation motion for victims' rights. They simply do not know what to do. Or if they do, they're completely denying them.
yeah, and that's the obligation of the United States, to make your life better to where it was before the economy and everything made it worse. And this is your obligation to give these benefits to us that are obligated to us.
But instead,
How
it's like
come
a
I didn't,
part-time job to get
yeah,
them.
how come I didn't get the benefits?
You guys are the one that's bankrupt, not me.
Pardon me?
Well, I mean, this is all stemming from the country, quote unquote, going bankrupt.
Yeah.
So there's no
Well,
money.
I,
So
I,
if they got all the credit to our social security account,
yep.
and they need to give us our social. They can't deny us access to it, even when your credit card gets denied. They're violating your consumer rights.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good basic sentence that says a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you're not going to give me these benefits, then please reinstate the gold standard, if you will.
Yep.
So are there any entities that are working on that level to bring people together for, because I don't know what the word would be. I mean, outside of a militia or what, I don't know. Where can people come together and begin to, I mean, I don't know if we need to march. I have no idea. But there's
Marching and
got, I mean,
protesting does nothing. I
Yeah.
see
right.
that as people complaining.
Yep.
But for a lack of a explanation of what I'm trying to say,
Mm-hmm.
that's like the mental picture I have in my head. Where do we all come together? I mean, is it paperwork? Is it, I mean, because obviously we're all starting to understand on all different levels, but we
Correct.
are starting to understand. So are there any entities outside of um truthers and patriots or whatever you want to call them that are
I don't
truly
think,
moving things forward?
not in a governmental capacity, I would say. It's the people who have to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So okay, so that's what are there any leaders of the people that I'm not aware of that maybe I need to tap into? I need to start watching. I need to be aware of.
well, like if you were saying that which one of you guys brought up Beverly and
Uh,
Joe
for
and
for good.
right? I would say this. I would say that, man. Just stick with those because I haven't seen anyone yet. If you guys find them, like someone that's part of the government that actually works for the people, it's gonna be hard pressed to find that. It's just like
Yeah, because
when you go in
they're all
and you're
dead.
in your if you go in and you're in your proper person and you're depending on your own right, right? To me, that's better than the government working for you.
Oh,
And
so
go ahead.
here's another thing too, with the benefits from the state. I said my car is breaking down and I gotta get a new car, and that's why I want to get on another live and go through that dealership process, pretending that I'm come walking in and trying to purchase one. But they said that goes through the Salvation Army. So there's another third party that gets your social security number to get yourself a new car to see if you're eligible for a new car. Well, I'm not eligible because I don't have kids. It's not a priority.
Mm.
Well, the
Well, I
funny
mean,
thing is, even if you had a child, it still wouldn't be a priority.
You're right.
right. Your
Because we know
public
they don't care about the
transportation or
children.
whatever. Right. But either or, to me, it's irrelevant when all of these things are just using the social in order to access funds anyway. They try to act like it's the taxpayer paying for it or all this
Yep.
other bullshit. I think both cases. I think in every case, doesn't matter what it is, the Newman record and asking them about your social. Are you administering my trust without my consent? These questions. So they probably find a way to deny you and still get money off of you at the same time. Court costs
Well,
or whatever.
yeah. And then there's something that you say to give, it's like kind of like a ledger or something. Oh, give me your bond numbers so I can take this to the Board of Governors for the Federal Reserve.
All right, it's like you want to request a full forensic accounting of the case.
Hold on.
I'd like to see the charging instrument.
I like that. I like that wording.
Yeah, I'm pulling these right out of the documents that I've had.
Have you
I need a
used
full-
that in a courtroom? Have you asked for a forensic accountant to
Not in the courtroom, but I've submitted paperwork, and believe it or not, today is the 10th day that I gave them to respond. So I've got to get on the phone and go down there, and because I got to
yeah, they
request
just simply don't respond to me. And if I keep going, let's say I go, 2 times a week or I go once a week, because I've done that at the district attorney's office. I sign my name on the log. I take a picture of it, to request. I mean, I've been doing this for years now.
the thing is, you got to follow up. You have to be able to follow up because, say, for
But
instance,
I
I gave
can't.
them.
How do you follow up with no response?
Well,
No response.
it's general banking rules, right? When you're past due on something, they send you another notice, past due, and give you an opportunity to settle or to cure. And then after a certain amount of other days, you can send them a default, right? Because if you request something, information, they have the duty to respond. And if they don't respond, you hold them accountable for not responding the same way they would hold you accountable. So today's the 10th day. If I don't get it by the end of the day today, any kind of response or anything, I'm going to hit them with the whole, oh, you're in default. And I'm going to just go watch a training on how to do this and then give them another like 5 days to respond. If they don't respond to that, I'm going to see about getting a default judgment.
Do you mind? Would you mind sending me an email of your request so I can put them into the district attorney here?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I've got a W-9 request. And
Okay.
the only thing I would change on it, because I'm going to change it moving forward, it says to whom it concerns, right? And I've noticed that unless you put it to and address it to a certain person, they're going to be like, oh, well, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. But if you get that return receipt from the certified mail saying that that person did get it and in fact signed for it, or anyone from their place, right? You have a
Right.
record that they did receive it.
Okay. So on that, as far as the district attorney or any court in a county, they're all connected to the county commissioner, commissioners, which are the ones who distribute funds received from federal or, you know, they received the funds to operate.
Correct. Correct.
So I'm just wondering if the district attorney, the county commissioners, and the state secretary need to be included under the request.
I don't know. We have to
Okay.
do some research on that.
When you email me those, I will read them, and then I'll go through there and see, you know, I'll kind of specifically tailor it to my need, and then see how, and then I'll send you a copy of what I submit.
Right. And then for I believe it was Brandy, I would use the Brady rule and demand that they produce any evidence that they're withholding from you, known as exculpatory. They only want to focus on the inculpatory stuff that gets you incriminated, right? And the exculpatory, it's who's culpable essentially, right? So if it's exculpatory, exonerates you, you know what I mean? But they don't ever want to put that out there. But in your case, it's different because there's two parties. There are two parties. So,
Now three. And then, okay, so the other interesting thing that's going on here is on the motion that I sent you. Of course, that's the supplemental one, but the original one contains more language, such as it is his name versus me. Okay.
Mhm.
But in the paperwork, he says this is filed by the next of friend, Sunday Crowder, who's the new wife, for the minor. Okay. Not only is he representing Sunday Crowder, he is the plaintiff, but he's representing her. She's not listed as the plaintiff. And
Conflict of interest.
he's also pro se on this case. How in the world?
He's pro se with the lawyer?
He's a lawyer
Ah,
representing her, now representing himself because his attorney quit. In this whole case, he's the attorney for her. He's representing himself as the plaintiff on the motion. And he's also the victim.
That's a conflict of interest, isn't it?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So
I know it. I know. So
he's
he is
going
my
pro se,
ex-husband.
Okay.
He's my ex-husband. He's an attorney.
Okay.
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 Now he was the perpetrator. He is the perpetrator. Now he's got it turned around saying, I'm the perpetrator. And he, in this filing for enforcement of violation of protective order, he is the complaining. He's the complainant.
They should be
Okay,
two different cases.
His name is listed on this complaint. You'll see it, Pete Rutter versus Brandy Collins. But he lists her as the one who's filing the complaint, and he's her representative. He's her attorney.
Yeah, that can't happen.
But he's pro se
what
on
relevance
the case.
does she have? She has no relevance to this. She has no standing.
Yeah, you got to start a new case if she's going to be involved, that has to be a whole different new case.
But what's involving her though? What involves her at all? She has
she's now that when the mutual protective orders were up, he filed one to include her and the minor, which is my child. And now, mind you, my rights have not been taken. They are completely restricted in a family court. Like that, I might as well not have rights, but I have them. I don't know how this happens.
Okay, I think with all family court matters, you have to, you got to be able to prove some sort of a jurisdiction. I mean, somewhere down the line, you probably agreed to all of this.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they would have no jurisdiction to try this case.
yeah.
But
There's
it might be that marriage license too. Are you guys are divorced?
Yes, we've been divorced before any of the we were
So what?
divorced. There was an arrest where he physically beat me and restrained me, but he was arrested for that. That's what I'm the victim of, according to the Attorney General of Texas. Now, I'm
So
also the victim in the district attorney's office for the 2 felony charges.
yeah,
He was never
and
arrested for the
to me,
rape.
the state's just going to allow this because the state gets to get paid off of this dispute that you guys are having. You know what I mean? Because when you
Right.
get that marriage license, even if you get divorced, the tie between only you and your spouse gets severed, but you're still tethered to the state, right?
Yep.
And they
Okay.
use that tether in order to presume jurisdiction over you because of that marriage license. I would
Yep.
ask quo warranto, like a quo warranto is an
Hmm.
order that you can write that the judge will have to establish what authority he's deriving from in order to gain jurisdiction over you.
Okay.
I
Do
think
you have a
those work.
copy of that? That you
I
can just email me?
I believe I do. It's in the document drive on my LinkedIn under my profile. It should
Okay.
be right underneath. It says I'm not trying to be difficult. You should see a link to my link tree.
So
Okay. I have
And
to write
I'll
everything
I'll
down.
look for it and then I'll send out a recap for this meeting.
Okay, awesome. But it's so overwhelming, and I hope to get more technically advanced, but it's not happening yet.
so do you think that she should talk to, Hunnit K,
What?
Mr. Difficult?
Do I know what?
Hunnit K?
100K? No. What is that?
Yeah, I think he deals with family courts also. It's HUNNIT, and that's
Okay.
K.
I think I've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just K, just the letter
Yeah.
K.
it's
Isn't
one
it
word.
funny
Yeah,
how?
Hunnit, as in 100K.
Okay,
Yeah,
100.
like it's been 100K. I got you. Like
Yeah,
100.
got it.
Hunnit.
All right. I'm gonna look into that because I want to do a one-on-one with someone who's well versed in family courts as well. Because
Yeah,
I get
because
a
I
lot of
think.
people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I,
Go
I,
ahead.
th- yeah, I think with her, it sounds like there's all kinds of jurisdictions in your suits.
Oh, no
Hmm.
kidding.
It's
And
all
they're
over
taking
the
advantage
place.
of you. To me, they're taking advantage of you and your ex-husband. They're
Okay,
getting
say it
paid off of
again.
both of you. They're getting paid off of both of you, the state or the family
Oh,
court.
yeah. But now the difference is he knows. So
Right.
he knows what to do. And
Right.
obviously, you know, because there's orders that, look, I have 16 volumes just from the initial trial. And I did get those records. The county paid $7,000 for those records. But it didn't help me in the case, but it's going to help me once I figure out how to take this federally. It's going to help me.
Mhm.
So is he a registered lawyer in the state? Can you
He
find that
is.
out?
Oh
Is he
yeah.
bonded? Is he
Yes,
bonded?
he is bonded.
Is there's
Mm.
And he's also insured,
Mhm.
because they have to have malpractice insurance. As well
Mhm.
as, the judge, the clerks, the DA, they're all bonded.
well, yeah.
And they all follow their own rules too. And like the Constitution doesn't stand. It's all the rules of the family court or whatever. I've got to look up those rules too because
Yeah.
even in my court case, I brought up the Constitution and all that, and I asked what jurisdiction are we under, is it common law, equity, or admiralty?
Mhm.
What was the nature of the charges? What is the nature? Meaning, is it, if it's common law, is it by way of a breach of contract or is it by way of an injured party? And she just goes, well, the jurisdiction is the rules and regulations of the state of Georgia. I said, yeah, yeah. And I said, is that in line with the Constitution? Sir, I'm going to schedule for a trial and we can discuss all of it later. They just want to kick it down the hall. They're not going to answer the question.
Yeah. Oh, this judge that I had that I was telling you, she just recused herself. I mean, look, I didn't even have good questions. I couldn't even say anything. She would get so livid, but I understand now why. Because I kept saying
Wow.
she doesn't know. She hasn't seen the evidence because they won't produce it. They just come in and they can talk over me and they can object. I might get 5 words in between the judge and her.
Well,
But
there's
she
laws
would
against
be
that too.
livid, like hitting herself in the forehead, pushing her cheeks out, pointing her finger over the bench, and
There's a code.
listen, I was never out of line. I would only
Right.
ask questions and she would go crazy.
Correct. Look, there's rules against that. Retaliation and coercion and conduct. There's rules of conduct.
Absolutely.
When they start yelling and screaming at you, because they'll find you in contempt for doing that. You know what I mean?
Well, and of course, I didn't even do that and was threatened with contempt. I was told not to talk back. Miss Collins, do not talk back to me. Sit
They're
down.
treating you like a
Do
child.
not speak. Do not speak. Um, do not say another word. I see
There's
you.
something,
I see you
there's,
about to take a breath. Don't say another word. I'm like, damn.
there's some kind of response that they say, don't talk back. There's some kind of response that they're looking for you to, because they say things on purpose. I don't know if you know who Derek is, Mr. Difficult.
I haven't heard of Derek. Is this
Yeah.
another TikToker?
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they like give you chances if you know what you're talking about. And when he says, don't talk back, there is a response for that.
Well, I mean, clearly, I'm not going to talk back. But the issue is, before every court hearing, I state plainly, I do not want to represent myself. I do not wish to be pro se. I don't have the appointment of attorney. Now, I don't want one either, but I'm just saying, I say that. And I don't understand. I don't know legal language. I'm not an attorney. And that's on the record every hearing.
That's probably why they keep kicking it down and telling you to be quiet.
Yeah. And there's something about being derelict. And that's a definition that you can go up, the law definition of derelict. And that'll give you some leeway, I believe, because you don't
I
understand.
use their words. I use their words. I am
Derelict.
I'm mentally ill and I'm
Derelict.
incompetent. I'm
Derelict.
incompetent to represent myself. Okay, I like that one too. I say I'm incompetent. I'm ineffective counsel. I have no idea what I'm doing.
You don't understand.
I wouldn't
Yeah, I
say
wish
that,
I would have known that.
because they view you as incompetent and imbecile anyway by being awarded the court. So you have to tell them that you are of sound mind. I'm of sound mind. I'm of the age of majority. I'm not your ward. I'm not your property. I'm pro se, not pro se. I'm in my proper person, in propria persona.
Yeah, that's
Or
a word
that's
I've
why,
just learned. And I wish I would
that's
have
why,
known that too.
yeah. Don't ever say that you're incompetent because they're going to view you that way anyway. That's why they're telling you to be quiet and sit down and all that stuff, because if you're not going to take an attorney, then we're not going to listen to you because you're incompetent. You're a ward. You're an imbecile. You're my
Right.
property. You're my slave. But you have to go in there and rebut that. So
Well, I do
am of,
follow up with I'm incompetent representation. Sometimes I don't even know what words to use.
well,
Incompetent, ineffective representation. Basically I'm no competition here. I don't
You
know
are
the
though. You
language.
are. If you're a woman, not pro se or anything of these titles that they give you, right?
Right,
Then you are more than competition for them because
right.
a woman. You are a woman, and you're entitled to rights, not benefits and privileges.
And now
And
that I'm
the men
aware
and
that
women,
I can
men,
be a woman in
mhm,
there, it's,
correct.
I feel a lot different. And gosh,
Hmm.
I keep going back to, I wish I would have known, but I can't do that. I have to just, accept where I'm at, what's happened, and go forward.
Right, and I would put that there. It's like I'm of knowledge now that and just pretty much discredit everything you said about being incompetent and all that, and
Right,
represent. You have to use it in the tongue that they're presenting it to you. When you represent, you're representing yourself, and you can't represent yourself. You are yourself. You know what I mean?
right.
When you show up, you are your proper person as yourself, as the woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because in several hearings, and I'm speaking from, that knowledge then, she would say, and this was typical, she would say, "Are you here pro se?" "No, Your Honor, I don't want to represent myself."
Correct.
But she would never say it. And one time she made me walk around, she pointed and made me walk around and get behind there because I kept saying, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to participate in this."
That's good.
And she literally made me walk around. I have witnesses. She made me walk around and participate in it. Of course, I
It's like
didn't know
what?
then what I know now, but
Right. Exactly. That's how it always is.
I
That's
just think
how it
about all
always
the
is.
lives that are lost, time lost, people locked up.
Yep.
It's
I'm
unreal.
I'm currently trying to fight right now to get a guy out of jail. He filed his own habeas corpus to get put in front of the judge in jail, handwritten, and he got the case. But when he got the case date to the day of the hearing, they just filed a continuance because none of the lawyers or anybody wants to accept the liability for the charges because they know they're not going to win and they're going to have to foot the bill. So rather than putting him in front of the judge and having these lawyers and these prosecutors be liable for their criminal actions, if you will, the judge is just going to keep granting a continuance and keeping him in jail. And it's like the third jail he's been in.
Okay, so I've on a hearing, let's say the judge doesn't decide anything, but he
Mm-hmm.
says he will issue
A
his, I
decision.
don't know if you call it opinion or judgment, whatever. I don't know what you call that. But I mean, how many days do they have to decide?
That I don't know. I would I would demand it there on the spot because I'm here
That's what I'm
now.
saying.
Yep.
I mean, so all that did when the judge didn't come back, which I was kind of glad he didn't because he needed time to review the documents.
The documents that they won't disclose or produce.
Well, the document, okay, so this is kind of a different subject, but the one thing that opposing counsel has continued to say is that I've not sought help, which is a complete and utter lie. I've sent it to counsel, all of my records. They won't look at it, of course. Of course, the liar for hire, she won't look at it. She's under investigation right now. So this elusive plan of care that has been followed to the T, by the way, and then some. I would love to get my hands on Medicaid's expenses for myself, my being, because it's in the millions. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way it can't be. But those are elusive too. How much money did Medicaid pay out? Because I mean, I would love to be able to produce those documents to the court for the help that I've gotten as well, but I can't get those.
Yeah, but they ain't gonna produce
Um,
it because they're doing the same thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They're doing
yeah,
the same
it's a
thing. So if they produce it,
complete
right?
systematic failure.
And I think if people stick on this Numinate record thing, because there's also
Yes.
a CUSIP report, but that's even harder to get. But the CUSIP record, the Numinate record, you could get straight from the Social Security Administration. So
Okay,
if
so
they start getting, go ahead.
you've got Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm just using that. And you've got
Hmm.
Medicaid. If I
Hmm.
called Blue Cross Blue Shield customer service and said I need a summary of what you've paid out, I could get it.
You'll
So
get
I
it.
called Medicaid and said I need a summary of benefits paid out to doctors, whatever,
Mhm.
therapist. Can't get it.
That's public record. You turn them into the IRS. I just did that to my landlord because I asked her for EIN number, and she goes, "Oh,
Mhm.
we don't give that out." I'm like, "The hell you don't?
You
Okay,
guys
so what
got
did you
my
do?
EIN number, right?
What?"
What
You,
did
you
you
guys have.
do?
Go ahead.
I called the IRS
Okay,
and
because that's
got the,
something I was working on this past weekend, was sending a 1099 something to the attorneys that I've had.
Hmm.
But I don't, I downloaded it, I filled one out, but I can't get it to send. And then how do I follow the trail?
what's the 1099 for?
You tell her, Mr. Difficult. I don't know how to put it into words.
The 1099s I'm unfamiliar with, but I do know that it has to do with taxing and paying off like the 99A,
Yeah,
like
the
pays off the
99A.
debt, and then the 1099 fee does like I think that's a request, you know. So these are all tax documents, mm, and people are using these to discharge loans and obligations. So I mean,
Well, see,
I'm
these
probably going to get
attorneys
into
take
that
the
tonight too.
money. They take this cash money from family court clients and they
Hmm.
don't have to claim it. And so if you 1099 them and they don't claim it, well, apparently it could possibly be like a proctology exam on your taxes. That's what I've
Right,
heard.
right.
And so at this point, they won't respond to my request for discovery. They don't respond to itemized billing. They just simply, nobody responds to me
You know.
because I'm nothing and no one. I mean,
Yeah.
even the attorney general doesn't follow through with their failure to comply to the district attorney.
Well, like what I've learned as well is like because I filed uh, plenty of documents on my case. I have a DUI case, by the way,
Hmm.
and they weren't responding to anything. They didn't respond to my notices. They didn't respond to my filings, my affidavits, nothing. It was
Right.
only until I went into the rules and regulations of the state of Georgia and started reading through it, and I found that they had a notice to produce by their own rules. So I used the notice to produce by way of a bill of attainder to find the nature and cause of the charges against me. And I
Oh my
made sure
God,
I
that's
filed,
awesome.
yeah, and I filed and it said in the code that you must file it with the criminal case manager, which is something I've never done, and you must serve both parties, right? Which is something I've never done. I always just filed it with the clerk and assumed the clerk would do his job of dispersing the notices or whatever, but that's not how it works. And then you have to
Well,
file a
I'll
notice.
tell you, it doesn't work either if you email the parties. And you're lucky if it works, even if you send certified mail.
Well,
These
here's
people
the thing,
just
like,
don't respond.
well, find the rules and regulations for the court that you're going into, and it'll
Mhm.
show you whenever you file a document or anything, it'll tell you who to file it with and what steps you need to take. Because not only did I have to file it with the criminal case manager, both served both parties, so I had two copies of it for both parties, right?
Mhm.
And I had to follow up with a notice, so I had to send a notice accompanying it, and the notice is what got me the hearing. So all of that is what got them to actually respond, but they only respond by way of hearing. They're not
Exactly.
gonna respond it. They're not gonna respond it on writing. They're gonna get you in there.
Well, you're already at the disadvantage because you're at the hearing and you haven't had the information.
And they won't
So,
respond to the information either.
right.
Like
Right.
my bill of retainers, I went in there and I said, well, the whole reason I have this hearing is because I wanted to speak about my bill of particulars. And the judge looks at her and she goes, okay, have you seen the bill of particulars? She stood up and said yes. So when I sat down with the prosecutor to go over my bill of particulars, all of a sudden she can't find it. All of a sudden she can't find it. And then she goes back in front of the judge when I get called up to the podium. And the judge asks her, so did you guys address the bill of particulars? She stands up and says yes. And I looked at her and said, oh my God, you just told me, but the thing is I have these spy glasses. So I got it on recording that she told me that she couldn't find it. And
But
then
isn't
all he
that
did
just
was just
crazy
kick me down.
making that and I mean, here you are sitting with this information, and what can you do with it?
I'm currently building a case now.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what we're all gonna have to do.
Just like in your case, I believe it was Brandy. Now all of a sudden you're the defendant now when you was the one who made the claim originally.
Absolutely.
So now they hit you with the counterclaim. And I believe because if I
Of
have
course, it's not titled a counterclaim.
it must be, or they just what happened to your original claim?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I would ask that question too.
So going back to that, when I was mentioning the plan of care and I'm talking about the medical records, and so there is no plan of care. There's a sentence in the orders that says this is her recommendation. Now, I followed her recommendation along with my psychiatrist, just as she recommended. I did the evaluation. I've done the things. This woman continues to testify, even though in the evidence that she's been faxed this, opposing counsel has been faxed, the judge has been giving the evidence several times. Now, whether she reads it or not, I don't know. I don't think that matters. The culpability should be on her to read it, because I am now I'm a woman standing in there telling you that yes, you have it on file. It has been submitted as evidence. And at this last hearing, I said, I need to know specifics on who the what did I say? Who the person that's in charge of reading these documents is, because I've submitted the evidence. I've given it to the court expert. I have given it to opposing counsel. I'm simply at a loss for who is over the records.
What
So
court?
that was
What court is it?
family court.
Is it like how's the title? Family court of your state?
No, yeah, it's family matter. It's
What I'm
the
getting at is
cause would be family matter 2100-344, county court at law. Which, by the way, the same judge tries me criminally for violation of protective order, right? Then she hears my family matter.
so she's trying to conflate the two.
What's that?
She's trying to conflate the two, like lump them all into the same thing.
Well, she hears them all. So
She hears. Okay, so she's got subject matter. Oh man.
So Brandy,
Go ahead.
I don't know if you utilize this or not. It's an 800 number for counsel and advocacy law. It's, well, it's given to you by the federal government, but I had called them and, they have good advice.
okay. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would put
I'll
that
take it.
number in the chat.
Okay.
888-783-8190. And
Okay, so I have, go
it'll
ahead.
prompt you to what suits what you need.
Okay. Now, I don't know if either one of you have filed a civil rights complaint, but I filed
Mm,
2. So I'm interested to see if you have.
I haven't.
I'm
This is gonna be
interested.
yeah, me too. I haven't though because what I'm working on is a counterclaim for my case now.
Yeah, so far it's been a waste of time, because my replies all contain your complaint lacks merit. Merit?
I would ask under what grounds does my complaint not lack merit or lack merit? Lack the merit for your decision, if you will.
I mean, isn't that such a broad word?
It is. So you have to get the specifics on the record. And always say
So
for the record, man.
how do you get that on the record when you're communicating through a complaint? Now I have the complaint number. Now I have the complaint response. How do I get it on the record for additional response?
So if you filed a complaint, then that would be a counterclaim. But he's already counterclaimed, right? So you're trying to counterclaim, which that is a thing. You can keep passing that back and forth, and it would be up to the judge to make a decision. Man, he's got to answer to one of those claims. Like
Yeah,
there's a
I think
breakdown
that's
of it
really
on
what I need to
jurisdictionary.
focus on. What points I have to stick on when I step in there this time. It's just that
Right.
simple.
Have you heard of jurisdictionary?
No.
Jurisdictionary is this law. I think he's a former lawyer, and he has this website, howtowinincourt.com, and he goes through all of this, all the procedures to go through, so you know what steps to take and what to do, and how to actually get these people to respond. Like this is where I'm getting my counterclaims from.
Now I may have watched, one of his videos through some of your things, but I don't remember it, that was him. But yeah, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, I would look at the jurisdiction because it tells you how to navigate because you're in the court, right? So jurisdictionary isn't good for people who want to just go in and get it dismissed. This is when you're actually engaged in the trial and you're going into hearings and you want to object and you have to file a counterclaim. And there's things like interrogatories where people you have to submit a written response under sworn testimony, right? In order to right in the state of Georgia, if you have to go by their rules now, right? So they might not do interrogatories there. Like in my state, they're called direct witness testimony, but they're in written form, or you can take them to a deposition. See, but I don't know that the family court rules allow for all of that, so you have to find out what their rules are and demand.
Well, they do allow for it. However, I know it's not done through the court. It's done through attorneys or subpoena.
So merit is
or motion. You can motion the court. I mean, you're already in the trial, so motion the court.
Right. And that's really what I need to focus on, the things that I cannot let slip by verbally, whether it be objection or, rhetoric. I don't know. I can't let it slip by.
I would look into jurisdictionary because they have a whole, because it's a lot of reading, but there are videos that you can watch first and then go find the supporting write-ups for them. And it tells you step by step how to do this process, how to do that process. If you want to.
That's awesome. Because where I get bogged down is the court paper. I'm trying to get these things on paper and they don't read it. They don't. I mean, I took my response in last time The judge took
Mhm.
it. At least he took it. This new judge actually looked and spoke to me like a human or
Mhm.
person, whatever. Um, and he looked at it and said,
Hello?
you can file it. And I said, I did file it. I filed it with the court and I've gotten no response. And he was like, well, you can refile it. Well, what the hell am I refiling all this stuff for? I don't understand.
Yeah. There's got to be ways to force them to answer. And there's little
Yeah.
tricks too, because they'll say they can't find it. And the thing is, if you put your notice verbiage on both sides of the paper,
Mhm.
because sometimes he's like this guy I know, he said that they'll flip the paper upside down, and since there's no writing on the back of it, oh, they said, oh, I didn't see it. Sometimes
You
you
know
got to put
what? That has
stuff.
happened over and over again. I always wonder why they keep turning that over.
Yep, they turn it over and they say, well, we can't find it. Oh, we don't see it. It's not written on both sides. I want to look at official filings from other people and see if they write things on both sides. You know what I mean? Like I
So the
would put notice to produce on the front, notice to produce on the back.
Okay, so this just came to my mind, and it may be a fluke. So on one of the violations that he pushed, the attorney,
Hmm.
the perpetrator,
Hmm.
he on the back of a piece of paper, he wrote the warrant that a sheriff would, signed the sheriff's name. Well, of course, I have a cousin that works for the sheriff's department. I called him. I said, "This, I'm all upset. How can he do this? He signed the sheriff's name." And he goes, "Brandy, that's not illegal. He can do that. Anybody can do that." But when you said
For an
that,
agent,
it was handwritten on the back of that motion.
mm,
when is it
see,
legal to sign someone else's name? I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of
It
that either.
has something to do with the county. So this may be beneficial for someone else to know all of his,
Yeah, I'd
horrible
say that you,
ethical violations.
yeah,
But
I'd say that you get the real signature of the person that he signed for. But I found the definition for merits in Black's Law Dictionary. There's some legalese, and it says the elements or grounds of a claim or defense. The substantive considerations
Hmm.
to be taken into account in deciding a case, as opposed to extraneous or technical points. So I don't know if you need to make extraneous more technical points in your
right.
filing, because it says
Well, so
merits are under briefs.
I think we might need to reach out to a family court expert and then a consumer law expert.
Yeah.
So I would say the people that you guys were recommending, just send me a list of those people, and I'll reach out to them, see if I can get a one-on-one with them.
Okay.
You're are you following Mad Smash? You're on there, aren't you?
Mad Smash, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, Mad, MADD, Smash.
Yeah, I would say everybody who you guys are recommending, just send it to me in an email, and I'll reach out to these people. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna see if I can get Beverly and I think it was 100K
You follow
or
Mick Reel?
Mick Real,
Yeah.
right?
I've seen that one before.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna write
I'm
that
gonna be
down.
reaching out to all of these people for an hour of their time, right? And then do the one-on-one 100 thing where people can come in and ask them direct questions and see if they can find remedy.
Okay, so
But
I don't want this to be unsaid for people who are being criminally charged. So going back to him doing that warrant on the back, and I know this because I looked into it. It is legal and anyone can use it. However, that's why it sounds so preposterous, because this attorney used that. and he wrote it on the back of this paper. He knew that technique existed.
Mm-hmm.
So if it exists for him, it exists for other people to
Yep.
file whatever complaint or charges they want and
Mhm.
issue that warrant under the sheriff's name in their jurisdiction. I know,
Mm.
and that's a broad way to put it, but there's something to that people
Yeah.
don't know. It's a secret.
Yeah.
So that might be good for, someone that's being
That'd be good
railroaded.
for Derek. Derek
Yeah.
Swanson Gonzalez, I think his name is. He's on YouTube. He's on, I think he might be on Instagram or something like that, and TikTok. Oh, he is good.
I'm definitely gonna do a family court one and then a consumer law one. And I'll probably see if I can get those done next week. And when is you guys' court cases?
They haven't gave me one yet. They said after January. When I went in on December 11th, they said it would take about a month.
Okay.
Mine's
Yeah.
January
Oh.
8th.
January 8th. That's like next week.
Yeah.
So I'll see if I can find someone in who is January 8th?
At Brandy.
Brandy. And you're the one with the protection order. Okay. Family court, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And the word quasi criminal. I'm not sure where that is in the Constitution, but
Quasi.
I'm curious to know how that come into play, how quasi criminal.
It's civil with civil penal charges. It's civil, but it's got
Quasi.
penal charges.
Holy
Middle of the
cow,
page.
there's a lot on quasi. Seemingly, but not actually, in some sense or degree, resembling nearly.
Correct.
I mean, isn't that great? That's great.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
great.
But ladies, I've got to hop off this call now. Send me all those people that you're recommending, and then I'll set up the write up on the Brady rule and things of that nature. And I'm gonna look out for a consumer law for those benefits that you need for good,
Yeah.
and then a family court person for the protective order with Brandy.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome.
And for good, I want to share my info with you.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, follow the people that I follow. Just look
Okay.
at their profile and see what they have on there. If they have, stuff on the UCCs, that's usually the people
Mhm.
that you want to follow.
I'll send out an
Okay.
email, a recap, so you guys can respond to that and share all the
Awesome.
information that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, because
Thank
I
you.
want to get back with
If there's
you. Oh, I want to
if
get
there's
back
some
with
way that
you.
I can help, y'all let me know. Help someone else do something, anything.
Join the Telegram group because I'm trying to start something known as the peer council group, where my
Can you-
peer is my
Okay.
council.
Can you send me your Telegram link?
So if you go to my TikTok page and you click on the link tree
Okay,
in my
awesome.
bio, yeah,
Cool.
there's a direct link to it. Let me know if you have
Okay.
any problems with that.
Sweet.
And I'll start a topic on
Challenged
family
on,
court.
but ooh, it's a lot. It's a
It's
lot.
a lot.
I do
I
my
think-
best. Not on your part, on my part, it's a lot. Like I try to keep up, and I'm like, wait, I just haven't solidified how it functions yet.
Right. And for the people who are actually going into court and having an actual trial, that's where things like jurisdiction area is good.
Well, I
'Cause,
appreciate that.
It teaches you how to file motions, interrogatory, object, filing documents, all of that.
Awesome.
I'd recommend you getting a UCC connection.
Okay.
It'll tell you because there's so many freaking jurisdictions that there's attorneys are going through and this judge and everything, and it'll tell you your box that you need to stand in, and that'll explain it.
Okay.
Yes. If you want that book, I have it on my document drive. You can find it in the link tree, and it's
Okay.
under the books folder.
Okay,
There's
thank you.
plenty of books in there. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, ladies, I'm gonna
Thank you
hop
for your
off
time,
here.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. That'll be good.
Bye.
And I'll send out that email, all right?
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.